is Sarah Highfield, and today I'm going to be teaching post-exercise yoga. It's going to be a very gentle class, so mainly on the floor. There's no standing, there's no chaturangas. It's a very stretchy class, so I do recommend you have some props for your class. My first prop is a little knee pad. So these are really handy if you're doing lunges to put under your knee. If you don't have one of these, you can use a folded up blanket. That makes a good substitute. My other prop is a yoga strap. So if you don't have one of these, you can use a belt or anything that you can sort of place around your feet and help pull you forward. And finally, I have a couple of yoga blocks. These are really handy. They're very supportive and they'll lift up your body when you're doing poses such as low lunge. If you don't have these, you can use something similar in shape and that's sturdy. Okay, so let's get started. Make sure you're sitting comfortably on your mat and close your eyes. Bring your attention into your body, pressing down through your sit bones and lengthening your spine. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale out your mouth with a sigh. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. 1 more time, deep inhalation and exhale. Slowly open your eyes. Place your left hand on the floor alongside you. Stretch your right hand across. If you can, open the chest up towards the ceiling. Keep stretching your top fingers to the side wall so you feel a deep stretch through the right hand side of your body. And then with an inhalation, come back to center and exhale, swap sides. Again, open the chest up towards the ceiling to deepen the stretch and keep stretching your top fingers across. Breathe deeply here through your nose. With an inhalation, come back up to center. Place your right hand on your left knee and twist to the back of your room, keeping your spine long and the shoulders soft and away from the ears. Keep breathing deeply. Try to get an even and smooth twist in the spine. And then with an inhalation, come back to center and exhale, swap sides. Make sure that the neck is long, and if you can, look over the back shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. Now, move the fleshy parts from under your bum. Stay sitting cross-legged. Inhale, lengthen through the front of your body, and exhale, walk your hands forward. Come down as far as is comfortable. Some of you may end up with the forehead on the floor. Some of you might be on your forearms. Some of you might be up here. Wherever you are, make sure you can feel the stretch through the front of the body and that you're walking the hands a little bit further forward if you can. Stay low, walk your hands to the left. Push down through your right sit bone. Make sure that the spine stays long, the shoulders stay away from the ears, and that you keep breathing. walk your hands over to your right. Push down through your left sit bone. And again, the spine is long. Feel a gentle stretch through the lower left torso. And make your way back into center. Inhale, push yourself up, swap the cross of your legs. And again, move the fleshy parts from under your bum. Inhale, lengthen through the front of the body, and exhale, walk your hands forward. Make sure that as you do this, you're pressing down through your sit bones, lengthening the spine, and again, walk your hands forward if you can. Stay low, walk your hands to the left. Push down through your right sit bone. Feel a stretch in the lower right torso. And then walk your hands over to your right, pushing down through your left sit bone. Remember to keep the spine long. Try to keep the shoulders level. And make your way back into the center. Inhale, push yourself up, walk your hands in. Come onto your hands and your knees. So we're going into cat-cow pose. This is a really nice stretch for your spine. So have your wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. If you kind of feel wobbly, you can tuck under your toes. But most of you should be okay with the feet untucked. From here, inhale, lift your head and your hips. And then exhale, drop them down and round your back. Keep going. Inhale, up. Feel the stretch through the front of the body. Exhale, down. Feel the stretch along the back of the body. Keep going. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, round the back. One more time each way. Big inhalation. So this is called cow pose. And big exhalation into your cat pose. Draw the navel in. Inhale to neutral from here. And now we're going to work on our core stability. So inhale up, your right arm and your left leg like this. Now make sure that the back foot is flexed, back leg is strong and straight. Keep the spine long and the back of the neck long. Press the floor away from you and lightly engage your core. Keep breathing deeply. And with an exhalation, release. Inhale up the opposite side. So, as you're doing this, make sure your spine stays long. Try to keep the hips level and the shoulders level. If you find that your left shoulder is pulling forward, pull it back in line with the right. One more deep breath here. And relax. Now, stay where you are. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So now you sit back on your left heel and extend your right leg out to the side like this. You can either rest down on the forearms or rest on your hands. See what works for you. You want to feel the stretch through the inside of the leg. So if you need a deeper stretch, see if you can slide the foot out a little bit more, or maybe come down onto the forearms. So remember to keep breathing through the nose. Let the body and the hips feel heavy. And take 2 more breaths here. Swap your legs over. So again, see what feels comfortable for you, whether you're down on the forearms or you're up on your hands. Just again, make sure that you feel the stretch through the inside of the leg. Let the body feel heavy. Try to relax here, and the more you can relax, the deeper you will stretch. One more deep breath. And bring the leg in. Now turn sideways again so you can see what I'm doing. So from here, take your knees wide, feet together, sit the bum back down towards the heels. Have your left arm out in front of you, thread the right arm under. Bring the side of the head down to the floor. So this is thread the needle pose. Have your right fingers roughly in line with the eyes. Then you should feel the stretch through the back of the right shoulder. You can walk your left fingertips forward and breathe here. Swap sides. Right arm comes out, left arm threads under, side of the head comes down. And again, left fingertips in line with the eyes. And see if you can walk your right fingertips forward a little more. Feel a deep stretch through the back of the left shoulder. And then come into child's pose. So stay with your bum back towards the heels. Both arms reach out in front of you. And then bring the forehead down onto the mat like this. Stay here, breathing deeply. Feel the stretch in the spine. Feel the stretch through the sides of the torso and under the arms. Allow your mind to settle. Allow your body to settle. 2 more deep breaths. And then tuck under your toes and push up into downward facing dog. Walk it out. So, walking the feet on your mat, keeping the hips lifted up high. Feel a deep stretch through the back of each leg. And then come into your downward facing dog. Press both your heels down towards the floor. Keep your legs strong and engaged. Lift the hips up high and feel the stretch through the back of both legs. Breathe deeply here. Two more deep breaths. And then come down onto your knees. Okay, we're now going to come into a low lunge pose. So you have an option here to place something under your left knee and maybe use blocks if you have blocks. So if you don't have blocks, that's fine, you can still do this pose. So all the props that I'm using today, they're optional. So have your right foot forward and your left knee down on the floor behind you like this. You can either have your hands resting on the front knee like this, or if you want to make it harder, lift your arms up like this. Or you can be like me and place your hands on blocks. I personally really like using blocks in this pose. I find it very relaxing, and I actually get into a deeper stretch when I can rest my hands on something. So, as you're breathing here in your low lunge, make sure that your hips are facing the front of your mat. If you need to, pull back on your right hip, push forward on the left. Let the hips sink down towards the floor. Every time you inhale, feel your body lengthen and expand. Every time you exhale, sink the hips a little further down. Feel the stretch through the front of the left hip. If you have your arms up in the air, you'll also feel a big stretch through the front of the chest. Couple more deep breaths here. Now we move into half splits. So if your arms are up in the air, you can bring them down, and then we all bring our weight into the center. Flex your front foot, straighten the front leg. Your hands are either side of the front leg, either on blocks or on the floor. And then again, square your hips. Pull back on the right hip, push forward on the left. Make sure that your right foot is actively flexed and the right leg is strong and straight. If you want to make this harder, you can bring both hands onto the outer edge of the right leg. This will give you a deeper stretch. That is optional though, you don't have to do that. If you're fine in the middle like this, then just stay like this. So each time you inhale, feel your body lengthen. Each time you exhale, see if you can soften forward. But what's important here is that you maintain the length in the spine. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And relax. Swap your legs over. So, this time the right knee is down, the left foot is forward. Sink the hips down. Your hands are either on blocks, or maybe they're on your knee like this. Or, for a harder pose, arms up. Do what works best for you. And what's best for you is to always listen to your body. Some days, yoga doesn't have to be super challenging. I personally find the more relaxing classes better for me. And listen to your body. If you need to take it easy, take it easy. The last thing you want to do is have new injuries through yoga. So again, each time you inhale, feel the body lengthen and expand. Each time you exhale, soften the hips down towards the floor. Take a couple more breaths here. If your arms are up in the air, you can bring them down, and then we all come into the center with our weight. Flex the front foot, straighten the front leg. Hands are either on the blocks, either side of the front leg, or your fingertips are on the floor like this. So again, work with what feels best for you. Once you're here, pull back on your left hip, push forward on the right hip. Make sure that the spine is long, and each time you inhale, lengthen your spine. Each time you exhale, fold deeper, maintaining the length in the spine. If you want to make it a little bit harder, both hands come onto the outer edge of the left leg. So keep breathing here. And take 2 more deep breaths. Now you can relax. Come down to kneeling. We're going to come into eagle arms. This will stretch the backs of your shoulders. So from your kneeling position, take your arms out either side of you and bring your left arm over your right. And then cross at the elbows and see if you can bring the hands together like this. Then keep your shoulders down, lift the elbows up. Make sure that your spine is nice and long and the back of your neck is long. So this is eagle arms, Garudasana arms. So this is a pose that's often done standing up and it's a balancing pose. But doing it sitting down is equally satisfying and a really nice way to stretch the backs of the shoulders. So as you're doing this, you should feel the shoulder blades moving apart and down the back. Keep breathing deeply. Take 2 more breaths here. And relax. Give your arms a little shake and we do the second side. So this time the right arm goes over the left, bend at the elbows, hands together, shoulders down, elbows up. Again, feel the shoulder blades moving apart and down the back. Keep the pose nice and active by pressing the elbows up towards the ceiling. And take 2 more deep breaths. And release. Again, give your arms a little shake. And then come down to sitting on your bum on the floor. We're going to have our right leg out to the side like this and the left leg folded in. So we're coming into a half butterfly pose. So make sure that your right foot is flexed, right leg is strong and engaged. What you're going to find when we do this pose is that the right sit bone starts to lift up off the floor. So if that happens, that's completely normal. Just try to push it down using your strength. It will come up a little bit, but don't worry too much about that. You also have an option, if you've got blocks, if you want to lean on something, then you're very welcome to. So, from here, inhale, lengthen through the front of your body. Exhale, walk your hands forward. Either lean on something or place your hands on something. Just get comfortable. That's the most important thing here. Get comfortable and try to relax into the stretch. But remember to keep the foot flexed, keep the legs strong and straight so you can feel the stretch. Each time you inhale, feel your body lengthen, and each time you exhale, see if you can soften forward a little more. Take a couple more deep breaths here. And then inhale, walk your hands in. Swap your legs over. This time the left leg is out, Right leg folds in. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk your hands forward. Remember to keep the foot flexed, keep the legs strong and active. And if the sit bone is lifting up, just try to push it back down. Hold this and breathe deeply. Take a couple more deep breaths like this. And then walk your hands in. Can release. Now we bring both legs out either side of us. You can have something in front of you if you're going to lean on something. Make sure you move the fleshy parts from under the bum. And then inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold forward. So we're now in a wide leg forward fold. What's important here is that your feet are flexed and the legs are strong and straight. Feel the stretch through the insides of the legs. Make sure that the spine is long and keep breathing deeply. Take 2 more breaths here. And then inhale, walk your hands in, and you can bring the legs back in. We're coming into a seated twist. So you might need your strap. It's optional, but you might need it. So sit with your right leg under and your left leg over. So bring your left foot up onto the right hip. Now, take your left arm, swing it behind the back and hold on to the foot like this. Now, if that's a little bit too much for you, you can always take a strap, place it over the foot and hold on to the strap like this. If you don't have a strap and you can't hold on to your foot, that's fine. Just put your left hand on the floor behind you. Okay? Then bring your right hand onto your left knee. Inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, twist to the back of your room. Stay here, breathe deeply. Now aim for a nice smooth twist throughout the spine, and each time you inhale, lengthen up. Each time you exhale, twist a little deeper. Twists in yoga are wonderful because they encourage blood flow to the spine and they stretch the little muscles between the vertebrae. So these are really nice stretches after exercising. Take 2 more breaths here. And inhale, back to center. Exhale, release, swap your legs over. So, have your left leg under, right leg comes up, bring the foot up onto your left hip, and then take your right arm behind the back so you can hold on to the foot. If you can't do that, remember you can use your strap or you can just place your hand on the floor behind you. From here, place your left hand on your right knee, inhale, lengthen, and exhale, twist. Remember, each time you inhale, grow taller. Each time you exhale, twist a little deeper. Use the hands to help you. Use the breath to guide you. Try to keep the spine low and the shoulders down. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And inhale back to center. Now, unravel your legs and we swap them over again. So, the right leg comes back under and the left leg is going to come over. We're going to stretch the bum and the hips. So, see if you can get your knees on top of one another. You might need to kind of move around on your mat to get the knees on top of each other. If they're not completely on top of each other, but they're kind of on top of each other, that's okay. Have your feet sticking out the side like this, so if you're sitting on your foot, pull it out. So the sit bones should be pressing down into the floor. The knees are stacked on top of one another, and the feet are sticking out of the sides. Now, for some of you, just sitting up straight like this, with the sit bones pressing down into the floor is a big enough stretch. And if that's you, stay there. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this stretch, you can inhale here. As you exhale, walk your hands forward, and maybe you can rest your chest down on top of the knees, or even bring the forehead down or the chin, whatever takes you into a deeper pose, do so. But try to keep pressing down through the sit bones. And for those of you who are sitting upright, that's fine. Just stay like this, keep pressing the sit bones down, and wherever you are, if you're upright or if you're folding forward, you should feel this in the bum. For some of you, if you're a little bit tight in the hips, you'll also feel it in the hips. And make sure that it's relaxing. This is a passive stretch. So each time you inhale, feel the body lengthen. Each time you exhale, try to soften down and relax. So let gravity do the work for you here. And the more you can relax, the softer the muscles become, and hopefully the deeper you will stretch. So take a couple more breaths here. And then, if you're folding forward, inhale to come back up, and we can all swap sides. So unravel your legs, have your left leg under, right leg over. Try to get the knees on top of one another. Have your feet sticking out the sides, sit bones pressing down. Either stay up like this or inhale to lengthen, and exhale, walk your hands forward. Relax here. So this is shoelace pose. This is a yin yoga pose. So if you don't know much about yoga, yin yoga is a style of yoga where you tend to hold the poses for sort of a minimum, I would say, of 5 minutes, and often up to 10 minutes. So doing this pose for 10 minutes, you really stretch the glutes. We're just doing it for a minute or so, and you should feel this. And it should feel good. It's not the kind of stretch that hurts. It's not like we're doing the splits and it's like a deep stretch and it's also straining and hurting. This one should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, just back off a little bit, take it easy. So, a couple more breaths here. And then, if you're folding forward, inhale to come up, and we can all relax. Unravel your legs, give them a little shake if you need to, and then come onto your front. You're going to come into some back bends, and we're going to start with a nice, easy Sphinx pose. So, this is your pose. Prop yourself up on your forearms. Make sure that your forearms are shoulder-width distance apart, and the forearms are also parallel. If this feels like a deep stretch for you, you need to switch on the glutes. If this feels quite gentle and easy, you should be fine to just stay as you are. It's a pretty simple pose. This is kind of pose where people are like, are we actually doing yoga? We are doing yoga. This is a supported back bend. And for some of you, you might be like, this is how I check my phone. And this is how I read books on the beach. So it is easy. But what we're doing here is we're coming into a gentle back bend before we do a deeper back bend. So after this, we'll be doing a cobra pose, and that's a deeper back bend. So it's good to do the gentle ones first, just to warm up the spine a little bit. So as you're breathing here, the chest is lifted, shoulders draw back. Take a couple more breaths. And then you can gently bring yourself down. Rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, from here, we're going to come into a deeper back bend. So I'll explain this one because it's really important that you listen to your body when you do this pose. So cobra pose is a much deeper back bend. And make sure you switch on your glute muscles. So switch on the bum muscles. This will protect the lower back. That's really important in this pose. And if you come up into the pose and then you get there and you're like, this doesn't feel good, this is a little bit too deep of a back bend for me, then come back into the pose that we just did, the one on the forearms, okay? There's no shame in sort of getting into a pose and then changing your mind once you're there. That's actually the thing to do if it doesn't feel right, because again, you don't want to injure yourself. So, to get into cobra pose, lying on your front, have your hands at shoulder level. The elbows are tucked in, so my elbows are touching the sides of my body. Switch on your bum muscles, so activate the glutes. And then, with an inhalation, gently and slowly press through the hands, lift your chest up. Now, see how you feel here. If you need to come down onto the forearms, then do so. You have an option to bring the hands forward slightly if you like, and that might take a little bit of pressure off the hands. I personally find this pose much easier if I can straighten my arms. Now, once you're here, each time you inhale, chest lifts, and each time you exhale, draw the shoulders back and down. Remember, the glute muscles, so the bum muscles are activated. You're lifting the chest up for a big stretch through the front of the body. Breathing through the nose. And feel the stretch in the spine. This stretch should feel good. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And then slowly come back down. Rest the forehead down on the back of your hands. And stay here. Take a few deep breaths. And then come up onto your hands and your knees. We're going to come into tiger pose. So if you want to place something under your knee, you're very welcome to. So I have my little knee pad. If you don't have one, you can use a folded up blanket, or you might just be okay where you are. But have something under your left knee, and then you're on your hands. You're starting on your hands and your knees. So we're going to be lifting up the right leg, and then taking the left hand and reaching back for the right foot. Once you have hold of the foot, push the foot up into the air as much as you can, and you'll feel the stretch through the front of the right thigh. Okay, so when you're ready, right leg goes up, left arm goes back, hold on to the foot, push the foot into the hand, hold this here, and breathe. So you'll need to engage your core to help you balance, and keep pushing the foot up as high as you can. Feel the stretch through the front of the right thigh. Take a couple more breaths. And relax. Swap your knee pad over if you're using one. And when you're ready, lift up your left leg. Take your right hand, reach for the left foot. Once you have the foot, push the foot into the hand, lifting it up, hold it here, and breathe. So this gives you a nice stretch through the front of the left thigh and through the front of the body. Couple more breaths. And relax. Okay, now we're going to come into a nice twist on the floor. So have your knees pointing to the right of your mat, and then bring the front of the body down onto your mat like this. Now, if you don't want such a deep twist, you can bring the forehead down onto the back of the hands like this. If you'd like a little bit of a deeper twist, turn the head away from the knees, so you're like this. Stay here, relax, and breathe deeply. Now the benefit of doing your twist on the floor like this is that because you're lying on the floor, your spine stays straight. So this is a really nice way to twist, and it's much easier than doing a twist sitting up. Couple more breaths. And swap sides. So your knees can go to the left, the front of the body comes down, and forehead comes down on the back of the hands, or you can turn your head away from your knees. Just make sure your head and your knees aren't facing the same direction, otherwise you won't really be getting much of a twist. So the forehead is either down like this, or the head is away from the knees. Just try to relax. Feel the spine long. Couple more deep breaths. And then you can make your way onto your back. We're going to come into happy baby pose. So this is a nice hip opener and massages the spine on the floor. So lie on your back. Lie on your back and then lift your legs up like this. Hold on to the outer edges of the feet, and you can gently pull down on the outer edges of the feet so the knees come down towards the floor. Don't worry if they're not on the floor. That's not a problem. So long as you can feel the stretch in the hips, then you're doing this right. And then you can gently rock from side to side. Do it gently, otherwise you'll fall on your side. So this is happy baby pose. I always think that this pose has a ridiculous name, let's be honest, but it's a really effective pose. I like the hip opening element, and I like massaging the spine on the floor. So a few more breaths here. Then bring your feet down and we come into Shavasana. So, lying on your back, for your Shavasana, you can have your feet sort of like mat width distance. For some people, you might even put like a little cushion under the knees, and that's useful if you have any lower back pain. But most people should be okay just lying on their backs. So, close your eyes. Take a big inhalation through your nose. Big exhalation out your mouth. And then just breathe naturally through your nose. And with each exhalation, allow your body to feel heavier and heavier. Feel the body pressing down into the floor like a weight. Feel the muscles softening. And let any tension in the body melt away. Enjoy the feeling of doing absolutely nothing. Just relaxing, just breathing, and just being. Now, keeping your eyes closed, start to bring your attention back into your room and back into your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Gently turn your head side to side. If you like, stretch the body out long. Stretch the arms, stretch the legs, point the toes. And again, keep your eyes closed if you like. Very slowly, make your way back up to seated. So, coming back up, sit comfortably. And take a moment here to notice how your body feels. Notice how your mind feels. And enjoy this moment of peacefulness before the rest of the day continues. hands in your heart-centering prayer position. Lift them up to your third eye as we lift our hearts to our minds and back down as we bring our minds to our hearts. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed the class. And like I said at the beginning of the class, that one was all about relaxing into stretches, and it's perfect for post-exercise, post-workout. Probably also good for an evening class because it's much easier than, say, a dynamic class. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening.